Hello guys and welcome to TFT World Cup final day, semi-finals, game number 2. Enjoy.
One Syndra.
Yes.
He got two.
So if one Syndra is high roll, what's two Syndras?
High roll?
High high?
High high.
High.
I can't wait to enter the game. Absolutely. When it's snowy, it pours. And that's a great start for Twisted Minds. Again, remember, they need to win here. As we do see some beautiful items coming through. We don't need a loaded carousel. We've got everything we need immediately.
Rage Blade to get the Syndra stacking early on as well, which is going to be so huge. I mean, if you really want to, you can get even more components with Stim Pack as well. Obviously, Band of Thieves also being another good option if you want to try and win streak.
I wouldn't hate patience as a virtue here. I mean, if we're going to be sitting around for a while, you can kind of bank those rerolls coming in. Immediately, yeah, you are giving up some of the other power from certain Band of Thieves, be very powerful in itself, but I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Obviously, you will not maybe be winning 100%, but you want to have some power, mainly because you want the Syndra to stay alive as long as possible. So if you get Band of Thieves, you can give it to a tank. He decides to roll, so he will go for, he wants to hand-pick items. This is great, and now he has the possibility to slam in both Winsus and Adaptive Helm to generate as much mana as possible. He will wait here and maybe try to greed for the Shoujo.
Yeah, I think he's going to greed for the Shojin, knowing that it's a loaded carousel, so there might be a lot more swords on the carousel, but also because he has the Pandoras, it means that that cloak can maybe roll into a BF sword as well, right? So I think there are possibilities. We have been seeing Adaptive Helm on Syndra, but I think in this sort of game, with how many components and how many items we're going to be seeing this game, you need to try and get the biggest cap.
I want to pick up on a couple of things that pass us by a little bit there as we see. So, Dinizuni going to take a little bit of break. You see, taking a drink of water. This is the advantage you get from this augment. You can take your hands off the keyboard and say, you know what? I'm a little tense coming into this incredibly important game. I need an extra break.
In a 4 versus 4 format, though, actually AFK doesn't seem that bad because, yes, your hands are off the keyboard, but you can actually look at the other boards and you can actually tell everyone else what they're playing. So it gives other players time to focus on their boards, trying to get the strongest board possible. And Dinizuni here, obviously taking a drink at the moment, but can actually make sure that he's communicating with his team and knowing what units are being picked up across the boards.
I think it makes sense. Hydration important, or always for this. We're hydrating here on the booth also. Keep it in good, and for now, waiting. So he had a good board, even with the Blitzcrank, so it will be a board that will be winning against Open Fortress, but the Syndra now for Snowy is the name of the game. Already the Ginso there, looking for the Shojin, and now with this Rampart Tour, I think Snowy could be the hero, or at least the funneling of resources will try to go for him, and he could be the one who cap out.
Well, we have got ourselves another Caretaker's ally to contend with as well, because I believe that will be Cogmore coming in for a whole bunch of extra helping and hurting. We'll see how it works out longer term, but if that is the case, that's a huge accelerant forwards.
Not too sure if it, I mean, I'm assuming it's the Cogmore as well, with 4 Cogmores already out the pool. I mean, that is pretty crazy to see that many Cogmores already. But we know that there are other players on the other side as well, like Dinizuni, also going for Honey Manta to start things off. So there needs to be some communication of like, okay, I have the Caretakers, I have Cogmore. Now Dinizuni actually needs to somehow change his board around, because they both can't go for Cogmore, right? I think it's too difficult for 2 players on the same team to go for Cogmore. So after this AFK is finished, we're probably going to be seeing Dinizuni actually change his board around and go for something different.
And that would make all the sense in the world, as the AFK board actually managing to do remarkably well there in the previous round. But yeah, being able to find an economic augment at Silver is always interesting, as we will have our first loaded carousel. And what do we spot but a spatula there as well? The promise of verticals. We'll see who's going to grab it, and it will be scooped up immediately.
Yeah, it's for Vintium, so Vintium now getting that Lilia in the front. Could be a vertical for Fairies. Let's see what he goes for in the end. So maybe he has possibilities to do something else. Maybe it was important for Griffin, but we'll see it in the long term. For now, let's see a little what they're all playing. Bobai, for example, with the Kog'Maw, and on the right, a little more of the comps.
two players on T1 actually taking AFK. Bintum and Dinajuni both taking AFK, and as you can see, going to be able to get the gold in the bank now as well, which is going to be so huge and accelerate that gold, accelerate their interest as well. But I think you bring up a good point with that spatula. You know, we have been seeing a lot of Fairy, Portal spatulas also been good as well. Portal Emblem to try and get 8th Portal.
Eldritch is nice.
Eldritch is pretty good as well. There are definitely a lot of possibilities here, so it's going to be interesting to see what direction Bintum goes into.
As you said, the 2 AFK gold injections, as Bintum's saying, I ain't taking any chances here of being griefed on the lost streakers. We haven't talked yet about Hwanmei, who has gone branching out and found a Frost Emblem to get himself started into one of the more unusual, very lesser played routes.
Yeah, that's exactly the one you don't want to see. It's very difficult to play the Frost Vertical, even in a good spot. We saw it in the previous game, in the previous days. Some of the players, I was going to say many, not many other players. Some, maybe a pair, tried to do the Frost Vertical, never worked. 8th place and 7th, if I'm not mistaken. So that's not the way to go, but he will try to use it at least for a little tempo in the early game.
Looks like Snowy and Bobe actually leveling quite aggressively. Maybe even, we didn't see it, but maybe even trying to potentially roll as well, because we saw Snowy just get a Syndra 2-star, so I wasn't too sure if that was natural, but having only 11 and 19 gold this early on the game is definitely super surprising to see. Obviously, the extra leveling means that you are going to be losing that little bit of gold and a little bit of interest, but both these players trying to keep that little bit of a streak.
Yeah, it's going to be very important, because we know that we've got a lot, items are definitely not the problem for our players here. We've been a load of carousel. They've got a decent amount, especially if you've got things like Pandora's Bench or over-encumbered like we've got here. So I think that the priorities start to move down and say, okay, we don't need to worry as much about items. What do we need to worry about? And perhaps that's, perhaps it's going to be the gold from the streaks and putting down pressure on player HP instead.
Yeah, and highlights also to our observer. We're seeing just their Bintum maintaining the lose streak. We have one of the best observers we've seen. So
yeah, fantastic.
Good highlight for him, yeah. And now coming up to the rocks. Let's see what we get here. Additional resources, as we know, is a loaded carousel, so many resources. They haven't been slamming much, so no one, once again, want to go for strongest board. They're actually, once again, being very greedy with the item, making sure that they are able to ramp up and have a great comp in this mid-game. So 3-2 or 3-1, as we've been seeing, deep rolls for them, and maybe 1 or 2 players will go for that fast 8 and a deep roll and in 4-1 or 4-2 later.
Take a quick look on the right-hand side to check the status of the lobby overall. You can see that we've got a pretty even spread between our teams. Snowy really the one who's standing out, and Bintum from T1. So we've got teams trading off wins and loss streaks right now, but I think you're right. We're needing to go a little bit into stage 3 to start to see perhaps the separation really emerge.
Seems like Bintum here definitely wants to try and go for the Fairy. We did see the Lilia and the Seraphine is being kept on the bench. Double bow as well means you can try and get like double Rage Blade or Rage Blade Lost Whisper on the Callista. So we're probably going to be seeing Bintum trying to kind of level and also just make sure that he can stabilize. You can see he has leveled to level 6 already at 3-1. Same with Bobe as well, wants to try and keep that streak. So both of these players leveling to level 6 already means you can try and get that. But I think now definitely you can see that Cogmore was the caretaker's choice for him. So, I mean, he's only a few Cogmores away. He levels up 2 more times, he has Cogmore 3.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't need to re-roll that.
Yes.
He can just guarantee that by pushing forward. The only problem, of course, is there's not a ton of money in the bank who need to get that by getting the wins in instead, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be a problem.
Yeah, he's good. He's going up against 60-second here that hasn't found his board. So I think Bobe, even though, as you said, he can go up and get the Cogmore 2, he didn't get this to stabilize with the front line. So he's actually in a weird spot. He needs to roll down a little more, even if it doesn't make sense. So if he gets 1 additional Cogmore, then he can go to level 7 and ensure that he can get a 3-star.
Could it be our most famous of augments, which has yet to be defeated on broadcast?
Golden Quest. Do you like a Stuart here?
PogChamp.
Yeah, he has the lose streak.
Yeah.
He has.
This
is the spot, right?
He has so much gold as well in the bank. Like
Perfect.
it's actually a perfect opportunity. I mean, you have support Golem as well. Obviously, one of the best performing augments in the game. He hasn't rolled past Golden Quest. Oh!
Yes! Okay, so let's take stock of where we are. Before, we've seen people with a Golden Quest go down very low to cash out. Bintum, he's rich in money, but not in HP. How would you guys like to see him approach this?
I mean, he needs to know. The thing about it is that you don't know exactly what you will get. So you need to be maybe a little flexible in the items. So maybe go for frontline items, preserve HP as much as possible, but you don't want to roll. So he needs to play with the resources that he has, be the most efficient that he can, maybe preserve HP thanks to his partners, and then when he gets to that 160 plus goal, get the cash out and see what he does with that.
I mean, if he wins this round as well, it could also be really, really huge for him. He doesn't keep the streak, unfortunately, so he's not going to get as much gold. But as you mentioned, Peter, you know, being able to preserve that HP, making sure that he doesn't drop too low on HP. You can see, though, he's keeping his bench spots open. He's keeping his options open on the bench. As you said, Hubison doesn't know what 5 cost he's going to get once he gets to that gold. So keeping the extra units on your bench means that whatever one you can get, you can kind of adapt to which one you
Except Milio. You don't want Milio.
Oh, come on.
No.
You know, I mean, Milo is kind of cute. Like, it's just not...
Yes.
He plays football. What's that
Yeah.
like? But no, you're absolutely right. I think particularly keeping on with those bridge units between competitions is very important. Personally speaking, I much preferred the last time we saw Golden Quest, where it was played by playing a very expensive board, very aggressively. Then you've got a lot of board to sell off, get, cash out the Golden Quest, and then rebuild from there.
Yeah, that's the plan, and let's see how early can he do it. 60 seconds, still haven't stabilized. He's very low, 64.
60-second also having Golden Quest.
Wait,
as
what?
well. We have a double Golden Quest game, so we are not going to be seeing Golden Quest going first in every single game. Now, one of these players has to go second or 8, maybe even lower.
Which Golden Quest will be the golden best? Let's get the carousel again and see if we can pick up some of the items. We mentioned before, our players will be able to pick and choose very carefully which items they get for the units across the board, as well as picking up, as we can see, a lot of very powerful forecasts from this carousel as well.
A lot of good defensive components as well, so really good for front lines. A lot of chain vests to be able to make these frontline items, which can be so huge as well. Looking at the other augments, no real surprises. Zui going for the 2 healthy. We have the Honey Monster trait as well on Bobe, who already has the Cogmore 3-star now, so that huge spike coming on through there.
Yeah, I believe the BS friends definitely works a lot better in writing than it does when you say it out loud. But
That's why I didn't say it, by the way.
It's kind of,
I baited you to say it.
I was like,
just to make you sound like an idiot.
I was like, Beast friends? I don't know. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. But hey, whatever it does, it means that the Honey Monsters are going to be a much more of a threat. Bobe and SCSC, they're both on massive win streaks. Best case scenario, they both take them into Wolves here, and that's a massive amount of gold, particularly for Bobe.
Yeah, and for SCSC it's great because normally Hecarim you want a lot of items, and that will increase the Arcana power. Arcana power will be more physical damage for the rest of the lobby, so that funnels a lot of damage to the Calypso. So actually, great identification of the portal to see what Arcana makes sense, and then go for the comp that makes sense. So actually this is a good optimization and something that we can learn not only for 4v4 for our gameplays individually in solo queue.
As we saw in the picture there on the right-hand side, Bobe, already having that Cogmore 3-star, can now hold other units. He stabilized his board now, and his board is strong enough where he's like, hey, I could be the one that denies all the units, had a Casting 2 on the bench, had 2 Syndras on the bench as well. So being able to get that Caretakers allows you to get that 3-star earlier, stabilize your board, and then use the gold instead, not to roll down for your units, but to roll down for other units to deny across the boards.
We'll see if they face each other. If they do not, Bobe and SCSC will make out like bandits here, and they avoid each other. Binsum, unfortunately, again, on the Golden Quest, is going to take, I suspect, a fairly substantial hit. But if T1 can hold on to both of their win streaks here, I mean, they've got a Golden Quest of their own to complete.
I feel like I just want him picture-in-picture for the rest of this game with the 2 Golden Quest players.
Yep.
Just to see
I was thinking the same thing.
I just want to see how much gold these 2 Golden Quest players have and see how far we have to go, like how far we have until we get to that point of the game where we do get the cash out as well. But it might not be too far away, to be fair. We'll have to see 103 gold for Bintum, so not too bad. Needs about, what is it, 140 was it? So it needs about...
No, it's about
160, yeah, so sorry, 60 more gold left. 40 more gold left.
It's like
for 60 seconds.
it's very weird because it's actually like 0.8, so if you have the amount of gold, but you don't have the 0.8, it's weird. Yeah,
That is weird. Why don't they
Nobody
add
has
the 0.8?
ever sold their board and gotten 0.8 short of cashing this out.
So
Never
why did
happened
they-
in the world
Why
ever.
did they add the 0.8? Why did they add the
Oh,
point
it's a
eight?
joke. It
Because
was the
they
golden.
can?
Originally, the old one was called Golden Ratio, which is that number. They changed it to Golden Quest because they realized nobody knew what Golden Ratio was. But they left the number in place, confusing everybody else from here on out.
Oh, it's confusing me as well for sure, because I don't think you can sell something for 0.8. But hey, 60-second now needs 20 more gold. I mean, if he wants to, can he sell? I mean, he could sell his board probably, but
Yeah, but he has good
Doesn't want
items
to?
for the Kalista, so
Yeah.
maybe maintaining her for now, play around her. So one more round. I'm pretty sure 4-2 for both of them will be the chance to do the cash out.
So, gentlemen, we've talked about ones we don't want to see. What would be the best possible outcome for these Golden Quests?
Any ideas here?
Briar probably would be pretty good. We've seen Briar already. I mean, we saw Briar.
It worked before.
It worked before. It got a first place before. I think Briar is pretty underrated. Nora could be good with obviously Yumi. That's also
Nora
another
is
great,
amazing,
great
yeah.
as well.
Any frontliners, Diana, Morgana are amazing for preservers
Morgana,
in the
yeah.
late game. I think even though I gave a little not love to Emilio, if he already has the Kalista, makes a little sense. If he have frontline to give time to the Emilio to give items. So now is the chance. Final elements, reinforcement if you want to go for tempo.
Here
and
we
that
go.
would be the idea.
Oh,
Great tempo. Okay, Smolder.
And Diana. All
He
right.
has the Ginsu, he has good items, he will need to pivot out. The problem, Smolder, normally you want to play with Pyro and the Blaster comp, and it will be difficult. He didn't stack in the early game, so now he's looking for that Varus probably, and trying to stack or improve the front line.
So, I mean, him taking the reinforcement, I thought he might have tried to go
got
for
Kench.
the Varus as well. He could have tried to go for Varus to try and get the Blaster in as well. That could have been another opportunity to take, but instead, it's going to be putting Tristana at the moment in for Blaster. I think for 60-second, not really the
Diana,
best.
yeah.
On the other side, Bintum getting Diana.
Yeah.
So, pretty good front line.
That's great.
Yeah, pretty good front line there. Obviously, can use a Bastion to
Diana
help
has
out
been
there as
nerfed
well.
so much. Well, it was broken in the PvE. Totally nerfed, she's still broken. So I love to see such a good unit, so much defense. She heals, she shields, and she simply doesn't die.
Yeah, I mean, she just ripped through the center of the board there as well, and also slowing across the entire team as well, looking real good. Smolder on the left-hand side is still pulling his weight though, with the Callisto items working very well for him as well.
So I think the big thing now is for these two players, now that the Golden Quest has come in, we're expecting them to win this stage, most likely, throughout Stage 4, because the rest of the boards have not really capped. It's how both these players are able to use this Golden Quest to adapt the rest of their board, to cap out the rest of their board as well. As I mentioned, the Varus is going to be a pretty big priority. You can see the Pyro being played as well. I think in general, 60-second maybe didn't get the best one. I think Diana is a lot better than Smolder, but there are ways in which 60 seconds can still make this work.
Oh, do want to point out as well, Bintum managing to find the Witchcraft emblem for the Karma as well. We've got a very good board developing, even outside of the Diana.
Yeah, it's very, very good. He finds what he needs. He also got the Chrono in, getting the Camille. It was the Fiora, I'm sorry. And then in the left, we see the Varus 2 with the Last Whisper. So area damage, reducing the amount of armor for the rest, and this is great because the Smolder is moving around the board and hitting a lot of units, so you need to ensure that everyone is weak.
Is it enough?
Is that the sound of a Smolder? No!
Oh, no! It's a disaster.
He's not
no.
out yet, but 60-second, that is going to be a very chilling moment, saying that even with the Golden Quest completed, we might be seeing the decision on the 100% win rate, as you said, Stuart, decided early.
It's a disaster for 60 seconds. I might have cursed. Maybe they don't win the whole of Stage 4. Maybe the Smolder is not good enough, unfortunately. But yeah, 60-second there. Maybe the front line not too strong enough as well. Obviously, prioritizing front line with reinforcement with Tom Kench, but in general has no combat augments at all. Just has full in terms of like just being able to get as much gold as possible, which is kind of making him a little bit weaker against these other boards that have the combat augments.
Yeah, and I mean, made sense the reinforcements. He wanted to be strong in that round, but the actual, to get reinforcements, as you say, then lose is exactly what you don't want to see, because he will not win out. This is a total tempo augment, as you just said, Stuart, so this is not the best spot. He finds the Shyvana, so now he can cut healing with the dragons. That's huge for him. He didn't have the item, so now a little better against some of the comps counter. Let's see if it's enough. Karma 2, still not there for Bintum.
No, keep my eyes very closely on the left-hand side, because Bintum, I think, has got maybe enough to absorb a loss, and the board already looked very strong. The 60-second, though, now has to avoid running headfirst into the Kassadin. Fortunately, as you said before, Stuart, Smolder is very slippery, but he may run out of places to run quicker. No, the Kassadin does get dropped. This is a matchup that 60-second could win.
In the end as well, it looks like Hwanmei on the other side is going to be losing against Bintum, so big win again for T1 as well. Hwanmei's board we haven't seen for quite some time, but he's actually kept that Frost emblem and is going for vertical Frost, which we know before didn't have the best of performances the last time we saw it. So it'll be interesting to see as we can see the split screen at the moment of both these Golden Quest players. It's really down to them two who's going to be 8th place and who's not.
Well, I mean, it's a little unfortunate to be in vertical Frost when your capstone unit has already been 2-starred by the opposing team here. And it's, you know, we're being demonstrated. Wouldn't you love to have this on your front line right now?
Yeah, that would be ideal. Now getting the setup also to do true damage. So 1 life only for 60 seconds. Let's see if it's enough. Bintium should have 2 lives here. And now going up against Snoddy. He has good item, support item there with the Moonstone, getting additional shields in. That will be very good for them not to fall down onto the board. Smolder is now in the backline, making good damage, good ground control, good setup.
Okay.
And once again, 60 seconds safe, Bintium great, and once again, working it out with the Golden Quest, and both of them safe, but very low in HP.
All right, Stuart, would you, on a technicality, allow a 100% win rate for Golden Quest if both of our Golden Quest players manage to hit top 2?
Nope.
Oh, boy. You're a harsh judge indeed.
I'm brutal. I'm a brutal judge. No, I mean, the first place dream is not going to happen. I mean, to be fair, I think both these players, they can maybe try and sneak in the top 4, but even then I don't think it's really possible with the rest of their boards as well. But as mentioned, we've seen Hwanmei's board here as well. Vertical Frost, using that Frost emblem on the Varus with the AoE damage. So definitely is pretty decent. I think the only problem with Frost at the moment is that the Olaf, the forecast, is not a very strong forecast at the moment. So it's very difficult to use the Frost in that type of way.
Yeah, he has the little bodies. He has also the mentorship. So he's actually using the bad units of Frost in his favor to funnel damage and additional power to his units. Once again, we see the split screen, and finally, for Bintium, that Karma 2 is so important to get that additional damage, additional burst. He already got the front line. He only needed that damage. So a better spot here for him. Huge roll on the left, also for 60 seconds, 0 goal. Getting that Taric, additional front line again. So both of them a lot better now, Peter.
I was waiting just to see if we'd end up with them against each other because they've been avoiding each other for a really long time. 60 second, of course, as we mentioned before, the one more vulnerable to being knocked out here and leaving in the only surviving Golden Quest to make a mess of everything now on the right-hand side of the screen is an absolute monster. She refused to put down the Bloodthirster as well. As 60 seconds survives again, they're both streaking from the bottom of the table.
No one is dead. We're into stage 5 and no one is dying. What is going on this game? This is an absolutely crazy game by both of these teams. We're now seeing about a 40 HP difference now from first all the way down to 8th place. So this is really going to go down to the wire.
We can't help but notice, looking at scoreboard on the right-hand side, the team tags of the players at the top right now. T1, they need one more game to go to the grand finals and battle with the Wolves. It's looking real good. Momentum seems to be in T1's favor.
They're still not against each other. What's going on? They're just dodging each other.
It's forbidden for 2 Golden Quest players to play each other.
The question is Smolder 2 better than the Honey Muncie? Can it take down the Cosmore 3-star as well? It's focusing the Varus. The Varus is down. Is the Smolder going to go down? It's not. Left-hand side, 60-second wins. Bintum wins as well. They're both still alive. The dream is still available.
I'm telling you, it can't be beat. It won't be beat. But we've got to have ourselves a win here. T1, they are looking real good. But 60-second, after that initial stumble, has found his feet really well. And maybe if he can get the Nasus 2-star as well, his front line, which has been anchored so well by the Taric up until this point, will hold long enough for Smolder to get the job done.
He doesn't have the goal, but as you say, Peter, that's the ramp up that he needs. He decides to sell. It's too huge. Wow, he already has items on that Nasus, putting up again. So the Taric is the one who will take the sacrifice here. Nasus, very good. Enough. He has the scaling, getting additional SP and increasing the rest. So it's a lot more burst damage, and that's exactly what you need with the Smolder. Once again, split screen, both with Golden Crest in the right, Bintium 41. Twisted 60 seconds. Going for it, slamming once again, going into the back. Looking good for 60 seconds, avoiding the crowd control. Is a win, and on the right
They
once
both
again.
win.
What is going on?
They
It's
will
just
go
the best augment.
holding hands until the top. That is what we're going to see here, Stuart.
Technicality is what's needed. Wame is eliminated, though. There's nothing
once
technical
again,
about
Frost.
that. We thought Frost would betray
tried.
him, and
I mean,
has.
And he did great. I mean, again, little bodies, everything that you should supposed to be need
Yes.
for this vertical to work, actually getting use of the bad units in the comp, because normally that's because the vertical is bad. Only the Olaf is good, maybe the Diana in the late game, but the rest is not helping. He used his helmet to be able to get support about that. It wasn't enough.
Gentlemen, we should ready ourselves, because with Huame eliminated, we see Snowy and 60 Second. They are also very low as well. It's not out of the question. Twisted Minds could get shut out of the game in just 1 or 2 rounds.
Awamde, in the end, the risk not paying off with the branching out in the end, unfortunately, getting that Frost Emblem, was maybe hoping for a Reforger to try and change that around. But unfortunately, that's what happens when you play Frost in this meta at the moment. And it could cost Twisted Minds a chance at the final.
Yeah, once again, Bintium, 60 Second, and Snowy. Very low on HP, Snowy and 60 Second with only 1 life.
Surely they play against each other now, right? Please. Like,
It's
they've
gotta
been dodging
be.
each other the whole time.
It's coming. There
All
it
right,
is.
here
Finally!
we go! Golden Quest versus Golden Quest. 60 Seconds has to win this round, or it's going to be almost done immediately for Twisted Mind. We have been disrespecting
Dyna's dead!
the Smolder. We do see actually cutting through a lot of the units. Smolder dashing
Oh,
between.
the Fiora went to
front
the back!
line are staying intact though. Bintium
Only
is coming in.
Smolder alive!
Smolder
And
is
he's
out of there.
60 seconds
Seconds
out!
gets taken all the way to Mars. That's a second elimination.
And there it
Snowy's
is.
alive?
Okay, I thought it was a third for a second, but we're still fighting.
No, this is huge. 60 Second, Juanmei, Twisted Mind, double bottom with an ace and a 7. So now they need a 1 and a 2 holding hands for Snowy, for CUA. This is a dire place here. T1 is happy. They just need to outperform them in 1 placement.
It's all going to come down to this next fight. 10 HP difference between 1st and 6th place. Twisted Minds need to come up with a miracle to try and get the top 2.
And it's going to be the 2 Twisted players against each other,
Oh,
which means they're going to take out one or the other.
No.
If Bome dies, if Bome's taken out this round, maybe they're somehow saved. But either way, they're facing down each other, with the players immediately to the right and to their left. For Snowy, his board, it's seeming like it's just going to be that too much, too strong. Kassadin is dropped. The hits come in. Bome does get dropped.
Wait a second.
Ryue is not out in bottom 2, but it doesn't matter. The bottom 3 Twisted Minds are done. T1, they took the banner of Faker, and they're going to bring it into the finals.
Once again, so now with this, we have the confirmation. T1 will take the win, go to the finals, and now we have a good representation. We have APAC versus China for the finals. T1 versus Wolf. It will be hype.
No one expected really APAC to go this far. I really think going into this tournament, no one expected T1, anyone from APAC to do well, but it really has been a tournament of the underdogs as well, with Na'Vi doing incredibly well from APAC. Now T1 going all the way to the final, taking out Twisted Minds. The question is, can they go one more? Can they take out another Chinese team in the Wolves to win the Esports World Cup?
I'm talking to Bome, for everyone who's talked to the T1 team before, it radiates from them how important this has been to fight under this banner, again, to follow in the footsteps of Faker. Of course, T1 have already won in League of Legends. A second win would propel them up the club championship point standings. It's massively significant for them. I think if anything, of course, they deserve this victory lap here, but I think they really come into our best of 5 grand finals with a ton of momentum.
Yeah, great teamwork. Once again, Bintium was the one leading the team. Now with this Golden Quest, being the leader, but normally in a sacrificial role in the rest of the series. So great to see now falling to Nizuni here. Doesn't matter, as we know, already qualified. Snowy trying to fight it out. There in the end, for Twisted Mind goes out again. And now we have the final confirmation, obviously, to be prepared for the MVP. Very important, remember, There is also, for the final round, whoever gets the best IBP, average placement
AVP, yes.
will get the MVP and an additional $50,000 plus, obviously, the $500,000 that are the tournament prize for any of the teams that get first place.
It's worth noting as well, as was the case in the previous round, our teams came in with 45,000 already secured. For T1, they have doubled that now heading into the grand finals. They've got a chance to double it again and again, get the 1,000 club points, which will be hugely significant going forward. Snowy looking down the barrel of Vincent's incredible ball. We've now got the second 2-star 5 cost in place with the Morgana as well. What a victory run it's been for the Golden Quest. Admittedly, we couldn't see both of them win, but for T1, this is a majestic moment. You see them quietly taking sips. They know this is a job incredibly well done. They shall face the Wolves in the grand finals.